Lana, how are you this morning?
Good, good. How about yourself, guys? Got here.
Doing great. So here's what we're going to do. I want to talk about financing. What do you want to talk about, Zaid?
How to get loans and all the things around that.
Okay. So Lana, what we want here, Zaid is a young man. He hangs
Okay.
around with young men and women. But they all want to, well, here's my theory. Let me go back in time. My theory is this: the longer we go out 10, 20, 30 years, the harder it's going to be to take care of four major life events: college for our kids, retirement for ourselves, cost of elder care for our parents, and cost of elder care, assisted living for ourselves. You with me on
Okay.
this? The longer we go out to now, it's 2023. 2033 is going to be more expensive. 43 is going to be even more expensive. 53 is going to be even more expensive, right? So I think it's vital that kids or young people or any people create some sort of a hedge against those life costs. And in my view, one of the best hedges is, one, you should get insurance, max out whatever insurance you can get. And two, you should have some sort of savings account. And three, you should invest in real estate.
Excellent.
Cash flowing investment property that's going to let renters pay it down, right? Here's our house. And appreciation and inflation build it up.
Absolutely.
Pull out the equity from this house to pay for college, retirement, parents, assisted living care, our assisted living care, right? And every time when we go to college, we're going to pull money out of this to pay for that, but the renters will fill it back up by paying rent, and appreciation and inflation will build up our equity at the same time. Does that make sense from your standpoint, Lana?
Absolutely. That's just building generational wealth, getting
Generational wealth. Smart. Do you think enough people in this country, or the world for that matter, are building generational wealth right now?
I mean, everybody's looking how to build generational wealth for themselves, their parents, their children. The most important thing, if you're a young person and trying to buy a house, get a house, is getting your credit started.
Getting your credit started, right?
Yes, what we want to first thing do is when you're 16, go ahead and try to get that credit card. If you can't get it on your own, have your mom and dad add you as an authorized user to their credit. So once you have that credit, you're one step ahead of the game when you're 16, when your parents added you as an authorized user to a credit card.
So how are we getting credit?
Try to apply for credit cards yourself. If you
Okay.
get declined, like with Best Buy, Home Depot, Macy's, whatever. If that doesn't work, go ahead and have your parents add you to their credit card as authorized user.
Okay. After credit, what do we do?
After credit, I mean, you can, believe it or not, you can buy a house right out of a high school. What we need to show, hey, during this last 4-year period, you were in high school, go ahead and get a job. Show us for FHA, we need to show a 6-month history of you having that job on a W-2. On unconventional, we can go 1 month and show that you have had a job.
Okay. Can you see the board? Can you guys see the writing on the board? Well, you can see the writing. Okay, so I'm going through these gyrations. I'm looking at it. It looks like a window that I want to jump out. So at any rate, so you can. We're going to get credit. We're going to go through Macy's or some sort of department store, something to establish credit.
Yes, sir.
We don't have a strong credit history. We got to build a credit history, right?
Yes.
All right. What else can we do?
If you don't have, if you're 18, ready to buy a house and you do not have credit, we can go FHA alternative credit. That means we need to show 12 months of rental payment history. And then you want to show that you paid your car insurance, your gym membership, some other alternative credit, utility bills.
Okay.
We can use alternative credit for FHA if you don't have credit when you're trying to buy.
Okay, cool, cool. And I know you just said it, but how does that work again? The FHA credit?
The FHA credit, you'll need to show some kind of a 12-month rental payment history.
Okay,
So we'll have to show bank statements showing the money coming out of your account for rent, or a verification of rent from a landlord company.
so if I'm in college and I'm renting the first year of college,
Uh-huh.
and I show rent payments, that's a good thing?
That's a good thing.
So maybe I can buy in my second year?
You can buy your second year if if you are building alternative credits. Then we need to get a letter from your insurance company saying, hey, he paid his car insurance on time. The gym
Okay.
member, hey,
Okay,
he paid the gym membership on time. If you had any utilities, show that the utilities were paid on time. Those can be used as alternative credit. And that's going to be basically an FHA manual underwrite.
okay, so if I'm 18, 19, 20 years old, I'm thinking ahead because I'm worried about, someday I want to live a big life and I want to do it in investment real estate. I need to get some money. I better start thinking about my credit. I start
Absolutely.
thinking, if in addition to credit, maybe I can get an FHA alternative, get a job so I can show I have something going on. Get some bills and pay your bills,
Absolutely.
right? You got
Yes,
any
sir.
questions on this?
Actually, I do have one question.
Yes,
So-
sir.
So if you are to get a loan and you're young, what is a normal interest rate for whenever you get a loan?
So right now, the market rate, so if we're going FHA current market rate is around 7%. Conventional first time home buyer, I've been running at 7.75, 7.875. Their rates
Yeah.
are a little bit higher now.
Okay, so
But-
let me ask you something, Zaid.
Yeah.
Why do you ask that? Does it matter?
If you're ever just gonna budget for it and you're going into a
Okay,
property.
I like that. We like that, right? Budget, we like that. Because here's where I'm gonna push back on that a little bit, Zaid. Because if we're going into a property, and Lon, I want you to help us with this. This is gonna be an investment property, right?
Yes, sir.
This will be our first investment property. Call it number one. Okay? And if it's an investment property, Zaid, all we really care about is, well, we care, but our main number is what's it gonna cost, right? And that's the interest rates gets built into that. But then what's it gonna bring in? As long as it's bringing in more than it's gonna cost, the interest rate really doesn't even matter. Is that fair to say, Lana?
Yeah, because the rents are going to cover the mortgage payment.
Now, you always care because that's a thing, but you could be charged 80% finance fee as long as you're bringing in 80% finance fee plus on your income and cover all the other costs. So while the rate, because I think, Lana, would you agree? Most people get caught up on the rate, which matters if you're living in it because that's a big thing. You have no way to offset the income. But if it's an investment property, it's all about your cost to own and the amount you can capture coming in.
Your cash flow on the property.
That's right. So if this is a property, number one, Lana, from a lender standpoint, and I'm 18 to 29-ish, what is my best avenue to buy my first property? Would you say it's a buy, live, and have roommates to pay, or how would you do that?
Buy, live, have roommates to pay, get a multifamily.
Oh, wait. Buy, well, let's go to that. Buy, check. Roommates? Because the roommates are gonna pay your rent, right? Or your mortgage and your cost.
Yes.
And then, so your roommates are your renters that are paying it down. They're creating equity by paying it down in theory. Inflation and appreciation are driving up your equity, right? So if you're
Absolutely.
living in this room, somebody's living here and somebody's living upstairs. These guys are paying for you. Does that make sense, Dave?
Yeah.
Your roommates, you're in college. Here's your little party area out in the back and here's your study area. It's way smaller,
Yeah.
right? So at any rate, here's your first house and you got your roommates, Jim and Bill and Ted, right? And you're paying this down into a house hack. Or like Lana said, maybe you buy a different one, a triplex or a fourplex or something, right?
Yeah,
And you go up the stairs like I used to do, right? And you live up here on the top floor and they live here and here. Or maybe it's a 4, you live here. Does this still look the same, Lana?
yes, sir.
Same concept, right? What is the difference if you buy a multiplex? You don't have to have roommates, they have their own door?
They, a quad, basically, it's a 4 unit and everybody has their own entrance. And when you qualify for a quad, you have to live in one of the units, and the 3 other units can be used as cash flow to offset your mortgage payment.
All right, let me ask you something. A little different. Here's really what you want to ask, Xavier.
Yeah.
What is the down payment to get into this from your standpoint, from a percentage?
For a first-time home buyer, a single family, you can get in with like a 3% down payment or the 1% down payment.
All right, now we're talking. Because this was the mortgage rate, what you were asking about, Zaid,
Yeah.
goes into your payment, your mortgage payment and all that stuff, right? That's
Yeah.
built in. But that is not built in. This is what you got to come up with. This is your checkbook. Is that fair
Yeah.
to say?
Yes.
Okay, so just for some practical use, anybody have a calculator, Zaid? Let's just say from here on out, anybody is Zaid. $300,000, Zaid.
Okay.
We could probably do this without a calculator, but let's just use Zaid as a thing. How much is 3% of 300,000?
9,000.
Let's raise the calculator.
9,000.
$9,000. So to buy this, you got to come up with $9,000. Or maybe you only have to come up with 1%, which some people call $3,000.
Right.
Zaid, without revealing too much, do you have $3,000 available to you right now?
I do.
Look at this guy, right? So in theory, Zaid, and let me ask you something, Zaid. Do you have 12 months do you have paychecks for 12 months?
Oh,
Oh yeah, please. I'm 16, of course I do. And what else does he need? He's got paid, he's only 16, so he can't do it. But let's say you were 18, let's just fake it. He's 18, he's got $9,000 or $3,000. He's got paychecks showing payments. Do you have any bills? Are you paying anything? Are you a gym member or anything
I
like
do.
that?
No, I do have 2 years of credit card history.
2 years of credit card history. Nice, right? This is why you're in this seat and you're not out there, right? So Lana, is somebody like Zaid at 18 years old capable of getting a house loan for $3,000,
Absolutely.
right? And let's say, just not holding you to it, but what do you think the mortgage rate is on a house at $3,000, just as a guess?
For
Yeah.
300,000, let's use even numbers. Let's say $2,500 a
Let's
month.
say $2,500. This is it, plus insurance and everything. So let's say you got to cover $3,500 a month. Does that sound about right? Somewhere around there. What if this guy's paying, I don't know, 1,500, let's say 2,000 a month in rent. Is 2,000 a month in rent a lot? Maybe.
It's about average here.
Let's say it's 2,200 a month, or I mean, 1,800 a month. And this guy's paying 1,800. And let's say it's 3 people, 1,800. So what's 18 times 3? 18 times 3 is 24. Was it 74,000 or something, or 7,400?
Yeah.
It's more than 35. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So now you got a free house, you're making some money. Your roommates love it because they're hanging out with you and everything's good, right? This can happen for young people. Most people can get their hands on $3,000 or $9,000. Most people can buy a 300,000 in Destin, Florida might not get you very far, but in a lot of the world, 300 grand gets you a long way. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, but now you might not be able to get this rent. But my guess is if you have 3 roommates, you're going to cover the cost for, even if you have 2 roommates,
Right.
you're going to cover the cost of that house. And now, Lana, tell me this. If they stay in this house for 3 or 4 years, and it goes from 300,000 to say 350 over that time, okay? And they owe 300 on it. Now they have $50,000, right?
Yes.
Okay. They can pull that money out. How much money can they pull of their equity to go buy a house number two. Let's say they have 50,000 of equity. Can he pull money out of that to go put a down payment on another house?
Yes, he can pull equity from their house to go put down payment on another house. So you just have to look at the loan to value, the caps, what the bank allows. Some of them allow you to pull 85% equity, 80%, or you can do a HELOC up to, some allow 90%. So you can pull the equity and use that for down payment of a new house.
Nice. A HELOC is a home equity line of credit where
Credit, yeah.
you're borrowing against the value of the house.
Yes.
Okay. So Zaid, tell me your understanding of what's happening here.
Okay, so I mean, like the overall.
Yeah.
view,
What strategy is happening here in your mind?
That's just, I mean, house hacking, using people.
Look at this
Yeah,
guy.
that
Oh,
one.
it's just house hacking, please. Awesome. That's just so cool. But tell everybody, assuming they don't know what house hacking is.
Right. I mean, just using like roommates or friends, renting out the rooms for you.
To get
using that
started,
money-
right, in your
yeah,
first
get started
property.
in First property, to use that money to pay for your rent, so you don't have to, worry about that for your day-to-day
Yep.
income.
And then once you establish some equity and you pull the equity out, whether it's a cash out refi or a HELOC, home equity line of credit,
Right.
to buy your second property.
Yeah.
And then, so you and your roommates move out of here, your roommates go to wherever they go, you move into this house with your lover and, right, with your husband, wife, dog, whatever your
Yeah.
significant other is. And you keep the renters in this one. So now the renters are still paying this one down. And inflation, appreciation, build it up. This thing's gonna sit there for the next 20 years until you get kids or something that are going to college. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In the meantime, you're living here, right? Maybe you get married and you're holding hands and you're happy. The little happy Zaid people. Okay, now you're living here. And this one's going or up in value through appreciation, right?
Yes, sir.
Everything. This one's going. And then someday when your little people want to go to college, we're going to pull the money out of this one, right? Through another cash out refi or home equity line of credit,
Yes.
right? Perfect. Let's talk about this, Lana. Do we get a different situation here? Or let's talk about what a DSCR loan. What is a DSCR loan?
A DSCR loan, that's where no income is verified. We use a cash flow analysis. Basically, let's use even numbers. If that house is making $2,500 a month and your rent payment is $2,500 a month, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. It's basically showing that the mortgage is being covered by the tenant. And we just have to show you have the money for down payment, your credit, and no income is verified on the DSCR loan.
Check. And this is good for young people. Is that true? As long as they can get the down payment money?
Yes, if they can get the down payment money, it's technically used for investment properties. If you're trying to buy investment properties, don't have income, but you have the down payment for it, you can use a DSCR loan.
All right, let's go back in time here for a minute. My theory, this is the theory of the world. We'll just call it John's Law.
Okay.
I don't have enough money. I don't have money. Do you own an investment property? No. Why? I don't have enough money. This is it, right? Oh, I'd love to have an investment property. I don't have enough money. I can't. I don't. I'm arguing this is a knowledge problem, right? There are programs out there where people can get the money. Is that true?
Yes.
In one, let's talk about number one. We just did DSCR. This allows you to buy a property, use the cash flow, not your checkbook, the cash flow of the property, not your bank account. True?
Yes, it uses the cash flow of the property, but you have to have a certain amount for down payment.
But you have to have the down payment.
Yes.
And usually the down payment's a little bit steeper than 1 or 3%.
Yes, it's about I would have to say 15 to 20% depending on the program. So if you,
Did you say 15 to 20?
yes, on the DSCR, depending on which, if you own a property like your primary residence, you've been there for a couple of years. I've had people pull out the equity from their homes and use it for a down payment for a DSCR loan.
Look at you with the ideas. All right, good. So if you have a house, in the, who's talking to me? Sorry, Siri's talking to me. Shut up, Siri. That's odd. Okay. It's one of those mornings. It's one of those weeks. All right, anyway. So back to where we were before we were so really interrupted by my telephone. They're always listening, right? Even now, they're still listening. Okay. All right, so anyway, all right. So we got cash flow we're gonna use, not our checkbook, but we gotta remember, we gotta get the down payment. But if you have another house over here that you're already living in, you can use this as a HELOC or some sort of cash out refi to get this higher down payment money. Right?
Yes. Or if you have a 401k IRA, you can withdraw money from
Well,
here.
if you have a 401k, you can pull it out of there too.
Yes, sir.
So this is a knowledge problem because a lot of people have 401k, especially if they're working for some business and they're W-2 employees, things like that. They probably have a 401k at some point.
Yes, sir.
Some effort, or I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but so what else? You got a 401k, they got maybe equity in their house, anything else? Maybe they just got a checking account.
Yeah. They have savings. They got inheritance.
Oh. Inheritance. How about, can I co-sign? Can I give a gift?
No, gifts are not allowed on these.
No gifts allowed. Okay, good. I wasn't giving you one anyway, dude, but anyway.
You
All
can
right,
get
so inheritance though, co-sign, can I co-sign?
you can get a co-signer. Yes, sir. You can get a business partner to go in and
A
with.
partner. So if you find a cash flowing property check and you get a partner, right? You both put in a little bit of money. That
Yes, sir.
works. So 3 partners. Or you
Yeah.
get a syndication, you get a bunch of partners, you all put money in, and you go buy properties. Nice. And you buy this thing cash flow. Now the win here, getting a regular loan. Katie's over here. She's manning the board. She got a loan for her current house. And let's just pretend she's not here right now. It was a freaking nightmare, right? She was a little emotional. Am I correct on this?
What
Yeah.
happened, Katie?
It was hard, right? You need a lot of paperwork. You need a checkup on a checkup on a checkup. And it takes, what does it take to get a loan? To fill out all the paperwork and everything on it. Most people have to go searching for stuff. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, when I start with a client, I tell them, hey, this is what we need to get you pre-approved. Go ahead and send me the loan application. If you're W-2, give me 1 month pay stubs, 2 years W-2s. If you're self-employed, send me 2 years personal and business tax returns. And then, I give them the pre-approval. Once they have that done, and they go under contract, I say, hey, send me your assets, send me 2 months bank statements. Usually when I get a file out of underwriting, it's easy peasy, insurance, title, and appraisal. And it should never be too hard or too complicated if you have a good loan officer know what they're doing.
Says every loan officer everywhere all the time, right? And I'm for you. But in the real world, it gets a little dicey because not because the loan officer necessarily, but because people like me are a little unorganized. Maybe I can't find the file, maybe this, that, and the other thing, and all that stuff. So all that stuff you just said. Now explain to me again, what happens in a DSCR loan? How does that look again? You just have to show a cash flow for how long?
You have to show that the property is cash flowing. Basically, if the mortgage payment's $2,500 and the rent received is $2,500, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. If we can show that, you're good to go.
Does that sound easier? Yeah, it's way easier. Do you have to what? Do you have to have a lease in place? Yes, you have to have a renter in place.
Yes and no. If you don't have a lease in place, we can order an appraisal 1007 showing that the market value for this property is $2,500 and the mortgage payment on this property is $2,500. Sometimes the underwriters do want to see a lease in place. Sometimes we can just use a 1007 appraisal.
Nice. Okay. Short-term rental, does this work on a short-term rental or is it gotta be a commercial building or what are we doing here?
it does work on short-term rentals. On short-term rentals, they will want to see 1 year rents received to basically show that this property does cash flow on short-term rentals.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So let's just review real quick. Young people can get loans. It's not as hard as they might think. All right.
Yes,
You
sir.
want to get some credit established. You want to get some history of payment established, all that kind of stuff. Okay. You can house hack, which means you can buy a primary residence with only 1% or 3% down, that kind of stuff. So it's really not as expensive as you think. And I'm talking about we use 300,000 as an example. Maybe you find a house for 200,000. It's a lot
Yeah.
even less, right? I mean, you don't have to start in the penthouse. You can start out on the ground floor. Okay. We found out you can do DSCR loans. All right. And that's a little easier, especially if you don't have some other stuff together. That's really cool. But what I would encourage everybody is this. Let's pop the balloon right now that says you don't have enough money. You probably do. You probably do, because it doesn't cost nearly as much, I think, as most people think it costs to get an investment property. And if you do it right, if the investment property is paying for itself, it will not cost you any out-of-pocket money after you get the down payment taken care of. Right?
Yes.
But here's where people get into trouble. They buy a property that isn't good. It doesn't cash flow, or it's not in good condition. You're always pouring money into it. That's on the front end. You just got to be smart and buy a good property that's going to cash flow and not hit you with crazy costs down the road that you weren't expecting. Okay. And then let the renters pay it down, let appreciation and inflation build up your equity. Then you can use that. And then here's the other thing, Lana, are you in agreement on this? Real estate investing is a long game.
Yes.
Otherwise you're flipping, and flipping's cool, but that's more about a short-term risk thing. Long-term, we know, Zane, what happens to real estate prices over time?
Going up,
They go up. What happens to rent prices over time?
going up.
Boom. So if your rent income is going up over time and your values are going up over time, but your mortgage rate is fixed, that's a winner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Winner, chicken dinner all day long. And it'll pay for your kids' college. In 20 years, the value of your house, this first one you had up here, is going to go up. And the equity is going to get paid down by your renter. And you're going to pay for your college. Check. The kids go to college and you're in your mid 40s, 50s, or whatever. By the time you get to retirement, the renters have paid off the college, and appreciation, inflation has built it back up. You pull money out for your retirement. And then as you're enjoying your traveling, everybody wants to travel. What do you want to do? I want to travel. Cool. That's fun. So you go travel with your house up here, and the renters will pay it down. Inflation, appreciation will bring it up. And then 10 to 15 years later, when your parents are, walking with a walker, you get to put them in a nice place. You don't have to worry about the guilt that goes with sticking them in crappy acres. Just the way it is, right? And then when you get a little older, when you turn 113 and you go find yourself in a old folks home, it's actually a very nice place. All because you had the foresight to buy a place early and let somebody else pay for it.
Absolutely.
Isn't that cool? So, Zaid, any last questions of Lana while she's sitting here so patiently? And
Yeah, just like one short question. It's like
it's a three-parter though.
Yeah. But like let's say you don't want to get a loan. Is there any other ways to get money if you're young?
Probably not from a lender.
Not from a lender, maybe have
Maybe
your
on the side, just talk to her
Yes.
late at
Yeah.
night. But there is one, right? There's hard money lenders, right?
Yeah, there's hard money lenders. You can have the parents get the house for you. Basically, if you're going to college, it's near a college, they can do like a kitty condo, something like that.
Okay, here, let's talk real quick. I know I'm getting the end it sign over here from my producer. But we love her anyway. So let's talk about this. Let's say you go to a hard money lender. Hard money lender is just not a bank,
No.
right? It could be anybody. And if Lana's charging 7% to 8% right now. A hard money lender is probably going to be at what, 11 to 13, something like that.
Yes, sir.
And where Lana's going to lock you in for 30 years or 15 years, that's a fixed rate, which is very important for our world, right? This hard money guy is going to give you 6 months, 12 months, maybe 24 months, 2 years. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to pay more, and it's going to be over a shorter period of time. And the reason why you do that is to get you started. Okay. And you believe that the value is going to go up. This is often called a bridge loan, maybe
Yeah.
something like that, to get you going. And you're going to pull out in 6 months, 12 months, or 24 months. And you're going to go visit Lana to set in a fixed rate. Does that sound about right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the way it works. So you see this house, you know it's a good deal, and you get it for a good price. But you're gonna have to fix it up a little bit. You're gonna have to give it some love and fix it up a little bit. And when you do, the value is gonna go up, right? Value add is what we call this. Okay. So you're gonna get this hard money lender. It's gonna give you some bucks. Okay. You're still gonna have to come up with a down payment. They want to know that you're in it, right? But they're basically becoming your partner on this, with the idea that in 6, 12, or 24 months, they're out, you pay them back, and now you go find Lana, and she locks you in with a long-term.
But if he already owned it for 6 months or X amount of months, he can do just a rate interim refinance, pay off the hard money lender and go from there.
Boom. Easy.
Go
You
ahead.
don't have to come up with any more money. Yeah.
A little bit more in there so that way you have the money for repairs and just do a rate interim refinance.
Yeah.
Go.
So to put a bow on this little thing, people should start, right? Is that fair to say? Find
Yes,
a
sir.
property, start looking, call here if you have questions, if you want. Again, we have vacation rentals. That's what we do, right? And they're very, very good places to start. Or if you have kids getting ready to go to college, start thinking about what they're doing. Everybody, well, I have a 2-year-old. Awesome, awesome. Go buy a property today. And when your 2-year-old's 18, 16 years from now, that property is going to be worth a whole lot more. You're gonna have a lot of equity, and then that property is going to pay for the college, rather than sticking it into some other form of investment. And the reason why is you get a lot of tax benefits that go with owning real estate. You get a lot going on with that. So you got that. If you're his age, I would start now looking at when I go to college. I want to get my credit and all that stuff. And then when I go to college, I'm going to get my roommates lined up, and they're going to help me, and we're all going to do this such that when I'm older and have kids like me going to college, I'll be set. And if I don't have kids, well, I'll be even set with whatever else is on there, and down that life road that we go. But all that comes into play if you're willing to ask people like Lana. Lana, give us a phone or an email. How would somebody contact you with their own questions?
Hey, if you have any questions, my cell phone number available 24/7 is 678-862-6522. And I'm easy to find. It's always lanaloan.com, and my information is on there.
Okay, good. Because you want them to call and ask questions.
Absolutely.
But Lana, you don't understand. I'm divorced. Whatever, right? We'll figure it out. Lana, you don't get it. I don't make very much money. Cool. We'll work through it. But Lana, whatever, right? You're going to need a butlana.com. It doesn't matter. Everybody's got a story, right? But
Yes.
I would argue everybody can turn that story into wealth. I was thinking, how wealthy would you be if you knew you could be wealthy? That's the question you got to ask. And then how do I get there? Okay?
Absolutely.
So let's wrap it up on that. Or do you have anything else you want to add?
No, sir.
How about this guy being as young as he is doing this? Is that impressive?
Very impressive. Keep up the good work, Dave.
Thank you.
You're
How
on the
about
right.
this guy as good looking as I am, still showing up here and doing this? Is that impressive? Not so much. All right, there you go. Zaid, what do we got? What's our outro here today?
I don't
Look
know,
at him.
what's the outro?
Pressure's on him. I don't know. What do you want to say to the people? Hey, people.
It's just, hey, people,
That's-
join us next week. Yeah.
Well,
that's
this
all
guy's,
I'll say.
is he good? Oh my, he's good. All right, we'll see you. Lana, thanks so much. Thank you.
Guys,
Appreciate you.
have a good Friday.
Bye-bye.